Now I know the title is a little bit out there, but trust me, this is just in lighthearted fun. I'm happy to admit it, and I'm sure some of you might connect with this topic as well. This is the top 5 games that I played embarrassingly badly, yet still somehow completed. Welcome back to Gaming with Crushworth. This is Crushworth headquarters, and as always, I'm Crushworth. Now, a little bit of context with this one. I love video games, always have. Yet in many of them, there's something that I've missed. But to err is human, am I right? Thus, I end up playing the entire game on a mode I like to call "this should be easier than it is." I either don't fully grasp tutorials, skim, miss functions or buttons altogether. If tutorials only appear at the beginning and never come up again, I can, in some cases, go an entire game without knowing what in the Sam Hill I'm doing. Yet, I'm left happy as a clam, thinking I'm getting through the game just fine. Coming in at number 5 on the list is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Holding the spot of a now classic on the Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem Three Houses is an incredible JRPG and one I highly recommend playing if you haven't. Back in 2019, this was my first tactical role-playing game. Now, I thought I was doing all right. I was bodying enemies right, left, and center, but then, like a wall that I hit, I was just getting absolutely wiped off the face of the earth on repeat, and I didn't know why. I'd go back and grind and grind and grind and come back with a hiya. This must have been how elite players get good, as they say. No, there's strategy involved, you goof. For far too long I kept this up until my wife started playing Fire Emblem. I watched and I couldn't believe why it was taking her so long to make her moves. This would be the literal game changer that I didn't know I needed. If your character was strong against an enemy type, it would show generally how much health you could take off. Sometimes you could take down villains in one attack. I'll chalk this one up to being overexcited when I started. Oops, my way worked too, right? Bum-ba-da-lam. Number 4 on our list is Paper Mario, the Origami King. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh Lord, how did he muck this one up? I love the Paper Mario games I've played, especially Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door and the surprisingly dark Super Paper Mario. Let's just say I was so excited for Origami King. I'll frame this with an old-fashioned compliment sandwich. The story is wonderful, it's equal parts charming, creepy, surprising, and yes, there's moments that are quintessential Paper Mario. Each area was colorful and vibrant. Also, where can I learn more about the human-sized Egyptian-style Toad ancestors? The last thing I want is for anybody to think this game is bad. It's not. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm big enough to admit I was awful at the boss battle system. For much of it, I just couldn't see the patterns. When asked to create a path to attack, I spent most of it directing Mario to flop onto his face. Visually, though, the bosses were unique. I've never fought craft supplies. They were a real cut-up. My brain was just scrambled finding my way through obstacles and the change-ups on the board. I was terrible at it. I rolled credits, but the Origami King is the closest I've ever come to rage quitting a game. Time for the other piece of bread in our sandwich. The characters are brilliant. I hope we continue to get amazing Paper Marios that aren't afraid to challenge us story-wise and take us to new worlds, but for my blood pressure's sake, with another battle system, please. Number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I adore this game, anime tropes and all, and I'll use a word that's thrown around a lot: epic. The story of Rex, Pyra, and their journey to Elysium holds a special place in my heart. I'm actually going to take a step back from the moniker embarrassingly bad for a second, because I'm legitimately uncertain how many others have this same experience. I want to ask, how many of you, like me, completed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 without knowing about the orb burst mechanic? Is that silly? Did I just fail the tutorial again? I learned about full burst from a fellow YouTuber, DBGeek, As much fun and as classic a game as this is, I thought some fights went on forever, especially late game. Then I saw how much damage others were dishing out. It's funny how well things work when you use in-game functions freely handed to you by the developers. I don't know what to tell you guys. We're now at number 2, Dark Souls 3. I'll be the first to say it, this one's ridiculous, and I'm still laughing at myself for this one. A little bit of my history with the Soulsborne games to set the scene. Elden Ring got me into this genre, and I was absolutely hooked from beginning to end. Crushingly difficult, yes. Rich in lore, yes. Vibrant yet depressingly dark worlds, yes. I loved everything about it and wanted more of the same with generally the same graphics. So I started Dark Souls 3, and while very hard, I had no idea that I was playing this again on unnecessary, why would you do that to yourself difficulty mode. Now, Soulsborne games don't have different difficulty levels. Everybody knows that, and technically that's right, unless of course you're missing the most basic of basic button commands. Throughout the game, I kept on coming up to places that I literally thought FromSoft was teasing me. I couldn't get over there. How could I get that chest? Go through that window. I sincerely thought it was like a Metroidvania where I'd unlock something later in the game. I was nearing the end of Dark Souls 3 when I had the biggest epiphany a gamer could have. I was struggling and I used a walkthrough to get a certain item. I can't recall what. I came up against a tower and the walkthrough stated, "Jump through the window." My wife can attest to my verbal exclamation at this moment. You can jump in Dark Souls 3? Friends, I'm not making this up. I had an almost near no jump run. Just because I don't want the fun to end, I'm adding an honorable mention. It's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Now, I know what you're thinking. If only there was footage of me playing Star Wars poorly. You're in luck. Step right up and watch a man have no idea that you can actually stack moves. I can't explain why I didn't look it up sooner, but I didn't know how to swap between targeting enemies for almost the entire playthrough. That takes a special kind of gamer. Like all of these, it's not as if I'm too stubborn to look up how things should work. I settle into patterns and find it hard to break out of them. Then, when the game's difficulty surmounts my absolutely asinine playstyle, that's when I look online, and from then on, it's like the gray sky opens and a beam of light comes down. This is not the playstyle you're looking for. And now, number 1 is Baldurs Gate 3. We've reached the top. The very pinnacle, the crest of confusion. Man, oh man, Baldur's Gate 3 is spectacular. In fact, it's my favorite game of all time. I completed it, but yet it's on this list, so what does that mean? Combat-wise, I'd rush in, attack, maybe attack again, and when I couldn't click anything else or move, I'd end my turn. Sounds good, right? I had no real comprehension of the basics, your movement, action, bonus action, and reactions. Past Crushworth didn't even realize each of these was color coordinated. I'm down by the river for my second playthrough, yet it was when my wife and I started our first couch co-op with our ladies Gloob and Doris that she wondered, why are you starting with that?
I can respect someone who gets down to business.
Long after I completed this game, I learned about concentration, which is a key part of BG3 and the 5th edition rule set of D&D. I'm living proof that you can fall in love with a video game, but also fumble your way through it. Next time you're in the Forgotten Realms and you're along the Sword Coast, can you pick me up a manual? So that's it, the top 5 games that I played embarrassingly bad yet still somehow beat. But I want to hear from you. Have there been games that you guys have rolled credits on, but then looking back, you're like, I don't know how I did that. It was kind of a miracle. Thank you for watching this episode of Gaming with Crushworth, and you'll see me around this old HQ very soon. See you later. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and crush that bell to catch all my videos. And, get this, reviewing games is new to me, YouTube isn't. Gaming with Crushworth joins traveling with Crushworth in the Crushworth Extended Universe. What games are you playing? Let me know in the comments below. See you later.